the books that were banned, and why. Every book on this list was considered so dangerous that governments, institutions, or authorities decided it should not be read. Not because it was badly written, not because it was obscene in any simple sense, but because the ideas inside it threatened something powerful enough that powerful people felt the need to act. This is not ancient history. Several of these bans were in living memory. Some are ongoing right now. Book 1. Ulysses by James Joyce. In 1922, James Joyce published Ulysses, widely considered the greatest novel in the English language. It was immediately banned in the United States and the United Kingdom on grounds of obscenity. The actual reason was more interesting. Ulysses depicted the interior life of an ordinary Dublin man. His appetites, his digressions, his sexuality, his bodily functions. With a fidelity that Victorian literature had spent a century pretending was impossible, it showed the full texture of human consciousness. The censors called it filth. What they meant was, this is too real. The US ban wasn't lifted until 1933, when Judge John Woolsey ruled that the novel, while somewhat emetic in places, was not pornographic. It remains one of the most consequential literary rulings in history. Book 2, 1984 by George Orwell. We discussed what 1984 predicted in another video. What it's worth noting here is that the book has been banned in exactly the countries Orwell was warning about. It was banned in the Soviet Union for obvious reasons, but it has also been challenged and removed from schools in the United States, sometimes by conservative authorities who objected to its socialism, sometimes by progressive ones who objected to its content. A book written as a warning against censorship has been censored. Orwell, characteristically, would have found this unsurprising. Book 3, Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. Published privately in 1928, banned in Britain until 1960. When Penguin finally published an unexpurgated edition, the Crown prosecuted them under the Obscene Publications Act. The trial became one of the most remarkable cultural moments of the 20th century. The prosecutor famously asked the jury whether this was a book you would wish your wife or servants to read. The question alone tells you everything about what the censors were actually afraid of. Not the sex, the class transgression, a working class man and an aristocratic woman. That was the real obscenity in 1960 Britain. Penguin won. They sold 2 million copies in 6 weeks. Book 4, The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Anne Frank's diary. The testament of a 13-year-old Jewish girl hiding from the Nazis, has been challenged in American schools on grounds that include sexually offensive content and inappropriate for the age group. The diary does contain some passages about puberty that Anne Frank wrote for herself, never intending them to be published. That these passages have been used as justification for removing a Holocaust memoir from school reading lists is, and I choose this word carefully, grotesque. The banning of Anne Frank tells you less about the book and everything about the people doing the banning. Book 5, The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. In 1989, Ayatollah Khomeini issued a fatwa calling for the death of Salman Rushdie following the publication of the Satanic Verses. The novel was banned across much of the Muslim world. Rushdie spent over a decade in hiding under British police protection. In 2022, A man raised in New Jersey drove to a literary festival in upstate New York and stabbed Rushdie on stage. Rushdie survived, losing sight in one eye and use of a hand. He published another novel in 2023. The Satanic Verses remains one of the most contested books in modern literary history. It also remains in print, which is the only response that matters. Every book that has ever been banned has one thing in common. It said something someone with power didn't want said. The mechanism changes: obscenity law, religious edict, school board resolution. The impulse doesn't. Someone, somewhere, decided that certain ideas are too dangerous for other people to encounter. They have never, in the entire history of literature, been right. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel.